Welcome to Vidarbh Literary Festival, arguably India's first non-fiction literary festival and the largest in central India. We function on lines similar to other established literary festivals across the country, but with a difference that we have purely non-fiction authors here in Nagpur. Each year, we have a central theme to the festival. This year's theme, Non-Fiction for Inclusion. And in line with this theme, we have various authors and topics that instill these values in us. Inclusion, to be included, to be provided equal access to opportunities and resources who might otherwise be excluded. Inclusion of minorities, marginalized sections of society, inclusion of the differently abled, inclusion of the privileged too. Willingness to accept books of each section included in this festival. The receptiveness of readers of Majha Nagpur to lend a ear to every marvelous author included. Readers are assured to be enthralled today and tomorrow with a fantastic array of most intriguing non-fiction books wound so seamlessly in astounding narratives by an inclusive lineup of authors. First day, first event in this room. Vidarbh Literary Festival begins with a bang. I request moderator Dr. Manohar Roy to usher our author Akkai Padmashali on stage. A round of applause everyone, please. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The first dynamic book, A Small Step in a Long Journey, a memoir by Akkai Padmashali. Well-known trans activist Akkai Padmashali raises her voice for transgender population and promotes inclusivity. She is a motivational speaker, singer, and recipient of the Rajyotsava Prashasti, the highest civilian distinction of Karnataka state. An advocate for policy change, Akkai was among the leading voices opposing Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, which criminalized homosexuality. She has been a strong critic of the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019 and the 2018 and 2016 bills that preceded it. Time and again, Akkai asserts that her story is not just her story and addresses gender and sexuality as a journey we all travel, one that connects our personal and political lives, and one that helps us face difficult, disturbing questions about prejudice and privilege. A Small Step in a Long Journey not just sketches a vivid portrait of Akkai's life, but challenges the society by presenting a brutally honest, self-critical viewpoint that calls not for sympathy or pity, but simply acknowledgement and respect and acceptance. Please bring your hands together to welcome Akkai Padmashali. I welcome moderator for our first session, Dr. Manohar Roy. Dr. Manohar Roy is from India, an engineer by profession and renowned social worker who worked in HIV prevention homes and LGBTQ community issues, women empowerment, and effective governance. He has trained more than 5,000 people on healthy political practices and is mentor to students of renowned engineering colleges in India and abroad. Dr. Manohar Roy is an internationally connected consultant. Please bring your hands together for Dr. Manohar Roy. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so very much. Well, first of all, I would like to welcome Akkai to the Orange City and the heart of India, Nagpur.
Thank you, Manohar.
The first thing that I would like again to tell you is that Akkai is not her real name, but very few people are lucky enough to get a title from people. Akka in South India is Didi or sister. And from there comes her name, Akkai. You are one of the very fortunate ones, ma'am. How do you feel about that?
My name was supposed to be Jagdish when I was born a male, and my biological family kept it. When I joined the Hijra community, I wanted to choose very beautiful name, and I chosen to keep this. Ashtaishwarya Ghanasampanne Doddamane Akkayamma was supposed to be my name. Then I made it short as Akkai Padmashali. People refer me, Akkai means Japanese company, TV. People say that, but I'm really not bothered. But still, Akkai means something very unique. Padmashali is something that I fought to keep this, as a surname, because my father, my mother, they belong to the weavers community, where you have so much of objection to keep this surname as Padmashali. Fought a lot against the caste system, and I said no. Akkai Padmashali is my name.
Thank you so very much. Well, in your book, As We Go, your childhood has been painful, but your brother was very supportive, and he even tried to talk to your parents about you. Was it, I mean, is it that your generation or our generation accepts this more, more likely than the previous generations that a person can be, he can be born with one sex but belong to another sex? Is that very, normal for our community, or it was abnormal for the community previously than us?
I think the question really it arises here. What is normal? What is abnormal? In that sounding, that the sex, gender, sexuality is something after me coming to the open world and seeing this diverse of backgrounds of people's existence, their identities, their sexualities, and maybe I may not having the proper knowledge to pronounce with certain amount of like very very particular about the identities, but still, for me, after joining the Hijra community, being in the profession of sex work and begging, something that I really learned a lot from then till today. And my brother who accepted me, for me, I'm very saddening that he just left us 3 months ago. He passed away because of massive cardiac arrest. He's no more with us, but still, his determination 20 years ago for accepting the way I was, something was very, very, appreciated. But many people from the sexual minorities community do not have that support system, and most of them also have been quit from their families, have been thrown out of their families because of their gender identity and sexuality. And the question still lies with us is simply why? Why the families are not accepting the way we are?
Well, to me, sexuality is like somebody being a vegetarian or somebody being a non-vegetarian. Honestly speaking, if we consider it that way, then what is the problem of parents giving birth to vegetarian parents giving birth to a non-vegetarian child, or non-vegetarian parents giving birth to a vegetarian child? I don't think there is so much of fuss that the child is taken away from the family or something like that. Whereas eating habits, we do it in public. Sexuality is something which we do in private. What do you think that can, bring up this?
Being part of many such social justice movements, women's movement, the movement of sexual minorities, the class minorities, the caste minorities, the religious minorities, we always practice personal is political. What happens personally, that is political. What happens like in public, that's also personal. So now we need to really redefine what is personal, what is political, what is public, and what is personal. I'm really not scared. Whatever sex or sexuality or orientation or my identity which I carry, I do it with so-called privacy. I speak it open. I say I'm so fantasy of having oral sex, and so what? Just question back society about your desire, your dream, your orientation, your attraction, your preference, your choices. If not now, then when? In 21st century, yeah. Why it's so hidden about sex? Sex is not so, so madivantike. It's about three beautiful letter and one beautiful word. I think we are doing, but we don't speak it. Please speak about this.
Sure. That's so nice. Because of this openness and everything, I think Barack Obama invited you to America, but unfortunately you could not go. What was the reason that you could not go to America and meet Barack Obama, President Barack Obama, the number one citizen of the world, inviting you and you not going there?
No, Obama, when he was the president for United States of America, I was part of this program called International Visitor Leadership Program, which is sponsored by the US, government. I was there. I was also visited to the White House, and I met his top secretaries and discussed various aspects of the bilateral relationship between India and United States from the context of children, women, youth, and sexual minorities are concerned. Same President Barack Obama had come to India. I remember 2016, 2017. It was a very big town hall. He invited, and I was there. I posed my questions before him.
No, the first time when you went, you did not go the first time when he invited you to America. I think that was a thing. And then second time he came to India, and then you went into the town hall with him.
I think the first time visit was in United States.
Yes.
I was in White House.
Okay.
But all other, coordination stuff, or, was going to meet Mr. President was something quite difficult to get his appointment. But in India, yeah, I think he met me.
Yes. So he remembered you when he came to India again, right? That's the best part. Two things you have done, which are really examples. One, you got a driver's license. The first transgender to get a driver's license. And second, you got your marriage registered.
Getting my driving license is which I fought for. I'm also saddened why I should fight for it.
Absolutely.
India is the largest democracy, having so much of culture, tradition, religion, region, ethnicity, many other aspects of it. So disappointing that the 21st century, one section of society is still struggling a lot to get its identity, to get its existence. I am so saddened that we are still begging before the state, which is supposed to be for people, is refusing to accept your existence of identity and sexuality. You get it? When my own parliament in 2013-14, which unanimously rejected the Section 377, it was a shame on democracy.
Absolutely.
It was a shame on democracy. If parliament is not going to listen to the voices of unheard communities, that's the intersex, Jogappa, Marladi, Shiv Shakti, Jokta, Akwa, Nirvan, lesbian, gay, bisexual, pansexual, asexual, demisexual, etc., then whose business is that to listen to my voices?
Absolutely.
I say, you are unfit to be the member of parliament. You are unfit to practice my democracy of this largest democracy's constitution of India's morality. I'm knowing that India is a society that keeps on judging and dictating and deciding one's other identities, as just keynote speaker mentioned. My question is very simple. Who are you to judge?
Absolutely.
On what grounds you have your right to judge me? If you're judging me, I say you are imperfect. You get it? So in that context, we cannot accept these sorts of phobia mindset. This is 21st century, knowing that if you compare this section of society, Muslims means terrorists, Christians means converters, transgender means child kidnappers, I'm down with it. I do not want to compromise such phobia mindset against section of who are minorities in many, many ways, and the areas of aspects of it. The question is simple: who are to do this?
Absolutely. I think a few readers have a few questions. Okay. Okay, later on, no problem.
Yeah.
Now, one more thing. See, I see you a very empowered woman, if I may be allowed to say that, right? But what happens here in our region, I've been in touch with a lot of transgenders here in Nagpur and around Nagpur. I've seen that they've been given opportunities to work. But what their mindset is that if we go out begging and, badhai torna, as you say, all these things on badhais and this, we earn more than getting a 9-to-5 job. Why should I work? Moreover, we tried to, not me, but some few organizations, they tried to educate them with some, artistic things like mehendi, doing the hair and everything. But very few are interested in it. You'll be surprised to know that one of the first clinics for transgenders has come up in Nagpur. First in India, there are only 4 of that sort. But still, the community is not ready to come out with it. In Nagpur, it is it was so bad that the commissioner had to put Section 144 against the community, because there were, in some house, if there was a marriage or something, 7 to 8 parties of transgenders, they used to come, and the person used to get harassed and things like that. Rather than that, if we propose them some business or some things, then they would reject it right away. So what in future do you see a solution to it like?
I don't want to see any sort of solution. I was a sex worker. I was a beggar. I decided to quit this profession because the amount of violence, the amount of discrimination, the amount of harassment that was happening in this profession was so difficult for me to digest. But at the same time, many are also willingly, with consent, with that amount of joyness, they're also being part of sex work profession and begging as well. Begging means, like in the name of tradition. States are begging different ways.
Yeah.
Political leaders are begging in different ways.
Definitely.
You are begging in different way, I am begging in different way.
Definitely.
You
No,
get
I
it?
agree.
So this stuff should bring the context of personal is political, the public means is personalized. How do we say this? The previous question which you asked about the marriage, the registration, I was against the institution of marriage. If you ask me, marriage means only himse, daurjanya, fighting, stuff, things were happening. I wanted to experience and challenge what is marriage all about. Being a born male transformed to a female, identify myself as a woman, and got my driving license from the Supreme Court 2014 judgment. Thank you, Supreme Court, for standing with the movement of sexual minorities. So, one side there is so much of recognition, acceptance, so many things are happening. Second thing, as we mentioned, 144 section. Was it necessary to bring this in a 144 section? I remember a very recent case. If I am not free, I want to place this before this forum. Sushil Kumar Modi, the Bharatiya Janata Party's, the member of parliament in Rajya Sabha, he is such an illiterate, he is such an immature, he is such an unbruted person, standing before the parliament and saying this community can't belonging to India, they are from westernized countries. You get it? And the concept of cis marriage, heterosexual marriage is utmost to my country, and this is what we are going to accept, and we are not supporting the LGBTQ++. Shame on him, Mr. Sushil Kumar Modi. How do I accept it? How do I accept it? On what grounds you are deciding my sexuality?
Absolutely.
You are a majoritarian. You are a totalitarian. We don't want to experience your totalitarian. We don't want to experience your majoritarian. We are living in a democratic country which accepts plurality. The fraternity of this constitution, we need to accept such way. If you are placing that demand before the parliament and in Rajya Sabha, before the floor, I want to take my strong objection on it through this VLF forum. Yes? How can a man, how can a cis man, how can a patriarchy-born man, how can a power-born person can decide our community?
Definitely.
So we say, in future, we shall be ruling this nation. My people will becoming the president, my people will become the prime minister, my people will become this entire country's protectors in such Ambedkar written constitution, which remembrance of Gauri Lankesh. A woman, journalist, feminist, the voices of the voiceless communities who stood how she was assassinated. How Pansaret Saab was assassinated. How Mr. Kalburgi Saab was assassinated because of your differences. And my country is not for that. We need to enjoy the liberty of love, affection, social justice.
Thank you. Well, with this, I would also like to cite an example to you. Correct me if I go wrong. In Mahabharata, there was one man who was invincible. That was Pitama Bhishma. And it always needed Shrikandi from the transgender community to kill him down. Otherwise, the war would have been over by him itself. The Pandavas would have lost. But it was only because of Shrikandi that Pitama Bhishma was brought down. Imagine the might of all the 5 brothers who could not come together and, defeat Pitama Bhishma. It always took just one transgender to completely reverse the result of Mahabharata. Am I right, ma'am?
I will take my different position on this. This is 21st century. Since 9th century, 10th century, 11th century, 12th century, we are only referring such stories.
Yes.
Ramayana said like this, Mahabharata said like this, Harihara Putra Ayyappa said like this. I want to question on the grounds of my science. What is my science? When I'm struggling with my identity, I'm fighting to get my bread and butter, all my fundamental guaranteed rights, my civil rights, my constitutional rights, my universal declaration of human rights, which is not I'm still been enjoying. So where is Rama? Where is Ayyappa? Where is Krishna? Where is Brahannale? Where is Shikandi? Where are these people? I shouted people saying that don't please feed us any stories. I don't want to even take such examples to, like in my sessions or whatever. I am practicing like this, and what is the solution now? You get it?
Definitely.
Please talk the practicality. I think the whole thing that came up when Sushil Kumar Modi was mentioned, I wrote an open letter to Mr. Sushil Kumar Modi, apologize. You have intimidated me. You have humiliated me. Me means my community. I can't accept such here. Even such statements are coming out. What happens in the process of CAA, the Citizenship Amendment Act, the Farmers Act, the NRC? You get it? The anti-conversion bill, the hijab issue. And people in the country who are really diluting their entire system of thought process and are too disturbed. We are living in an undeclared emergency nation. I repeat, we are living in an undeclared emergency nation, and we are also part of it. Whatever happens across the nation and the world, that belongs to me, and I am also part of the world. So I say, no more stories, talk practicality and get my solution.
Well, you're a fantastic singer. How about two lines about it?
I had sing this song for Caravan albums. This is called Bhagyada Lakshmi Varama. Bhagyada Lakshmi Varama Nammamma ni Saubhagyada Lakshmi Varama Hejjeya melon hejjeya nikkuta Gejjeya kalgala nadava toruta Sajjana sadhu poojaya velige ಮಜ್ಜಿಗೆಯೊಳಗಿನ ಬೆಣ್ಣೆಯಂತೆ ಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮೀ ಬಾರಮ್ಮ.
Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. did you learn this music or it came, how did it come up?
My father's aunt was a Vidushi classical singer. I was wanting to learn classical music because of my feminine character. She refused to teach me this classical music. She assumed, it seems, if I teach Akkai, Jagdish, my previous name was Jagdish, if I teach music for Jagdish, he will become feminine. So then I said, Ajji, you are wrong. Even she refused to teach me. But I was sitting at the door and keep learning all this. Dhani zari 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 zani da pa ma pa. Dhani zari zani da pa zani da pa ma ga di za. You get it? So that's how you learn.
A person with so many talents, so much in you. How can you contain yourself just in one book? What is the next book about?
Ayo, very frankly telling, writing
Isn't
book.
it? I mean,
Thank you, Mano, for posing this interesting question. Frankly telling, writing is so difficult. 10 minutes left? Okay. Writing book is so difficult. The promise is saying, oh my love, it's so difficult. Thanks to Gauri Vijay Kumar, Brandeis University, my dear friend who teaches on sociology, sexuality, and etc. And thanks to Professor Dominic, who is also the registrar for Bangalore North University. These two people I felt very comfortable to speak to them about. Thanks to COVID, 2019-2020, had 4 to 5 months, the whole world was locked down. I also in the same cage, One side people are dying, one side people need to, handle the crisis. The other side you're also stressed. So what do? I spoke to Gauri. Gauri, I want to write my book. I want to, I want to share with you about my life journey. Gauri, myself, we both did it on Zoom. thanks to that technology. 4 months, I was shouting at Gauri. I was, laughing at Gauri. I was so peace with Gauri. I was so lovely with Gauri. I think whatever I said, she brought it in the book format.
That's a fantastic.
And this book was translated into Kannada language, Malayalam language, now in the process of Tamil, Telugu, and almost 13 languages of this country. And English, just I think this last May we released it.
Yeah.
But I think book is something that after writing this book and sharing experiences was not so easy for me. Because you're recollecting your 25, 30 years of struggle. I'm now 38 years old, just 38 years old. And when I was recollecting the stories of harassment, rape, police brutality, the state, violating one section of society, section 377, I think you were recollecting your stories and you were something painful. You're so stressed when your father died, when your brother died, I was into multiple relationships, which I still strongly believe in. When your own partners decide your identity, when your own partner decide your sex and sexuality, how you also feel so, disturbed in the process. But challenging all of this, I think that that is in the book. I don't want to comment more about the book, but there is very, very, very a truth that I should speak. I remember the, mythology. It says, truth and trust are part of your life. So I think whatever I'm supposed to say, if I want to scold Manohar, I have did it. If I want to scold any other people, persons, leaders, I have scolded, I have appreciated them, I have enjoyed them, experienced my open stories. And this book has become now a theatre play for 1.5 hours, where Nayana from Satvika Rangapayana, she is performing my play in Karnataka and different parts of South India as well. Yeah, this is the small tool. And this book is also becoming the texts for many universities.
Well, I would like to share something with you. It's a personal experience of mine. My cousin brother, he works in a bank and he's a writer. And I told him that I'm going through this book. So the first thing a writer does is he buys the book. He read this book, and you know what he came up with? He said, I'm going to write a friction on this. I said, fantastic. But what will be the friction like? I'm sorry, my brother, but I'll have to share it with you. He wants to pose a transgender as a spy. Like the James Bond, what he does. So I don't know how it is going to come up, but if that thing comes up, maybe he needs your help in that.
Sure.
So I'll be extending, I'll be connecting both of you all together.
Yeah, very much.
Anything else that anybody wants to ask, any questions or something?
The audience, shall we open the hall to the audience? Anybody wants to ask any question? Can we have the lights, please? We heard Akkai with compassion, with responsibility. We hope our readers have imbibed every nuance and high tone of this powerful voice. The voice of Akkai that represents the voice of those who aren't heard. Thank you, Akkai, for giving Nagpur this opportunity. Now we open the hall for questions, and the Nagpur readers, any questions, anybody? Yes, please.
I was listening to Gopal Guru, and I will just vaguely put this, that what he was saying was that Dalits, non-Dalits cannot study Dalits because they don't have the lived experiences. Do you think the same about LGBTQ community, that those who don't belong to it cannot study or understand it because they don't have the lived experiences of the community?
No. I think we are human beings first. You get it? If you understand what is humanity, definitely you can travel with the journeys of many other, marginalized, vulnerable, upper section of society. You get it? Manohar, I never met him, never seen him. Yeah, the day before we just spoke. I think he has traveled with my journey. You get it? That doesn't mean if Akkai is a transgender woman, I should only speak for transgender. I'll speak on global politics. I'll speak on globalization. I'll speak on privatization. I speak on economic inflation. You get it? Gender injustice. We have capability, but the thing is that people who are like Manohar, who are majoritarian, they don't give us the opportunity. No, I think it's not true. Yeah.
Next question, please.
So it's a slightly personal question. So it's more to do with because you've lived through a journey of overcoming so many hardships and you've sort of interacted with marginalized society. What would be the one takeaway you would give to us in terms of making the society more inclusive? And just because I'm sitting here and admiring how positive you are, so how do you sort of manage to remain so positive?
I think I would really recommend this in 21st century, which we are really not getting the support. I think thanks for these young minds who are joined in so many numbers. Um, Please talk to people who are really unspoken. There are so many tribals unspoken. You get it? There are people who are street vendors who really don't even care. Sex workers, sexual minorities, physically challenged communities, persons with disabilities. I think this section, why I'm quoting their a terminology and sharing here, because living those experiences, knowing that if you are coming from such a privileged background and we are underprivileged, you are enjoying the liberty of your, I think the society is made for you. But for us as a marginalized section, which is very, very far from the truth. So I would say, I think people like you, if you're 10 members coming outside in society and doing this work, automatically the social change process begins. You get it? Because me being positive, because very simple the way I accepted Manohar, I tried to kill myself. When the second time I tried to kill myself, I questioned the rope. Why I should die? I am perfect and you are not perfect. You means my parents, my siblings, my society, my neighbors, my sarkaras, my relatives, etc. So then I took the, the determination to fight against you. You get it? I think today that's why I should thank the Supreme Court of India for delivering two very, very historical verdicts. One, recognition of transgender as equal citizens before Constitution, and on the grounds of Section 377, how it colonialized in the perspective of cis man, cis woman equals procreation, and we objected it thanks to my Supreme Court Constitution bench, and we feel so proud to be part of this largest democracy. And now there are lakhs and lakhs of people coming on the streets and say we are pride, we are proud, and dignity.
Any more questions? Audience?
Was mesmerized by it, first of all. And I have two questions for you. Number one, I want to understand the title of the book, A Little Better, A Small Step. So, what was that first step that you took that made you think about this is going to be my bigger journey, and it's not just one moment or one fight. So, what was that first moment that you discovered that the job was related to?
Actually, I was supposed to keep, like a challenge to sympathy. Because many times when you see sexual minorities, no, ayo papa, they don't have job, yeah. Ayo papa, they don't have dress to wear, yeah. Ayo papa, they are doing blessing things. What is this ayo papa? Oh my love? No, sorry. I said, why are you saying ayo papa? I want my dignity. Until you give my position, opportunities, until I go and occupy, you keep on saying this. So I want to challenge back. You get it? So I say, no, ayo papa. So no sympathy. They were discussing a lot in English. Like in Kannada it says, Karunegondu savalu akkai. In Malayalam it is something else, I don't know. But English, it's a long journey, but my small step. There are so many other activists who were killed, who were assassinated in the process of building our movement. So I think in this process, my small step.
And my second question is a little more generic. So they say that the burden of education is upon you. So you cannot go to the marginalized community and then ask a question and explore at the cost of offending them or making them feel uncomfortable. So this is one of the things that I've faced a lot of times, that when I'm trying to get away from the privileged place that I come from and trying to understand other communities, there is not enough discourse or not enough conversation that happens. So are there any tips or are there any directions that you have, that how can we enable those conversations that you spoke about that will make this more inclusive?
The Nagpur education policy, national education policy, will not resolve these problems. I think there are two systems that I look forward. One for informal education, one for formal education. What is informal? So we are interacting very informally under the official banner called VLF 23. But still, this conversation needs to happen, and there are so many movements there are so many organizations, there are so many community-led initiatives have been begun in this process. Maybe you should do your, groundwork. You get it? The formal education, many professors doesn't know what is sex, gender, sexuality, and what are they going to do this parivartan? The National Council for Educational Research Training, NCERT, which is supposed to teach about sexual minorities, the teachers have refused, said, no, we don't want to teach this issue to the TOT trainers. How strange is this? And we say, we will speak our own issue. We'll train our own issue to all the teachers. And many teachers who refused back. So this is my society. I think it's a collective responsibility. How do you combat such phobias? Yeah.
Fantastic. That was a fantastic interaction with our very own Akkai Padmashali. Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Manohar Roy and Akkai. Deepest gratitude from me, anchor Tasneem Akulawala. Now, I would, is Mr. Padmanabhan Pillai here? Yes, please come forward. Now, I would like to request Akkai to stay on the podium to unveil a book by Nagpur Quiz Club. Nagpur Quiz Club has successfully conducted 150 quizzes for people of all ages in the last 12 years. The NQC Compendium 2023 is a collection of hand-picked questions from all their events of 2022 as an attempt to take quizzing to the masses, especially students. Compendium aims not just to boost knowledge but also to ignite curiosity in the minds of everyone who wishes to learn. Thank you, Akkai, for unveiling the book for us. I would now request Dr. Manohar Roy to present this painting from Alag Angle by Virendra Grover and Mayur Munne. The gift is a handmade painting that has been personalized for the author. We are proud to be associated with such talent at Alag Angle community. I request the moderator, Dr. Manohar Roy, to hand over the gift back to the author. And then usher Akkai back to the audience. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the fantastic presence.
Thank you all for listening. And your real social responsibility begins from now.
Thank you, Akkai.